This is Gemara in Sotah Daf Mem Vav as we close in Baruch Hashem on another incredible Masechta. We pick it up on Mem Hey Amid Beis. We're about 12 lines from the bottom. The first word line is Gufa. We're at the two dots, about 6 lines from the Mishnah. And we quote the words in the previous Mishnah of Me'ein Haya Moidedin. From where would they measure? We had a machlekes in the Mishnah of Lezer said they measure from the stomach. Rav Akiva said from the nose. Says the Gemara, what is this machlekes where we're measuring this dead person to figure out which city he is close to with regard to the halachas of Egla Arufa? Mar Savar Rav Akiva holds the main life comes through your breath, through your nostrils. So you measure from your nose. Omar Savar whereas Rav Eliezer holds the Iker Chiyus is in your navel, in your stomach, that's where the nourishment goes. So that is where you measure from. Says the Gemara, let's say it's like the following Tanayim. How was a person created? From where is a fetus created? From his head. From mother's womb you pulled me out. And the Psukim continue and they say, you pull out your hair and you throw it away. So he said the word goiz refers to the head. So so we see that the first part of creation is the head, shita number 1. It's from the stomach. And then it sends out in all different directions. So says the Gemara, seemingly the machlekes of Akiva and the Tanakama, whether you measure from the nose, Iker Chiyus is in the nose, the fetus is created from the head, according to the Tanakama, or do we say like Rav Eliezer that the body, you measure from the navel, the stomach, the belly, the nourishment? That's like Abashal, that the baby is created Meiti Burai. Says the Gemara, Afilu Tema Abashal. No, we can really say that everyone agrees. What was Abashal referring to in Yitzirah? The creation of the Vlad, of the fetus, Chimitzar Vlad, Mimsiasa Mitzar. Abashal holds the Vlad is created from the middle, the stomach, and then it goes out on either side. Everyone could agree that it comes from the nose, from the mouth. In his nose. So we see that everyone could agree it's not necessarily the same machlekes, and therefore we're left with that our machlekes is just where the Iker Chiyus is, but we do not have a other machlekes to pin it on. We continue, the Gemara continues, from the place that he came a chalol from his neck. My time is Rav Eliezer ben Yaakov. This is the third opinion where you measure from the stomach, from the nose. Now we're saying from the neck. Says the Gemara, where does Rav ben Yaakov get this from? The says Chal Savari Chalali Rishayin. So these are next with the necks of the corpses of the wicked. So we see that the word Chalal over here refers to the neck. And we continue the Mishnah on the bottom of Memhei Amid Beis in discussing the procedure of the Egla Rufa. Says the Mishnah, Niftaru Ziknei Yushalayim v'alchulem. The elders of Yushalayim leave and they go on their way. Ziknei Oisayir, and the elders of that city, Mivian Eglas Bakar. So after the elders of Yushalayim, they came from the Sanhedrin HaGadol to measure now. The Zikanim of that city come, they bring the Eglas Bakar, and they bring the carbon, the female calf of a cattle, that what? Ashaloi Mishkach Mishcha Ba'al, that has not pulled the yoke in its life. Avena Mum Paisaban, there are no movement. And they take this calf and they bring it to the Nachal Eson, to a place called Nachal Eson. Why? Eson Kemashmai, that what? Kasher, the ground was hard. Eson kosher. But even if it's not actually hard, it's still kosher. They take this calf and they decapitate it with a kaipit, a cleaver, from the back of the neck. And in that place that they perform the service of the Egla Arufa, you're not allowed to plant, to avoid, or to work that land. You can plant flax there, or to chisel out stones over there. Ziknei Osiyah Roichsen Esideyam B'mayim, they wash their hands with water. B'makei Marifa, in the place that they performed the Eglah, Rufa Shel Eglah. V'ayimrim, they say, Yadeinu lo yishavchu es adam hazeh. Our hands, they washed their hands. They say, our hands did not spill this blood. Ve'inenu, and our eyes lo yirau, and our eyes did not see what happened. V'chel daitenu also. Sheziknei bezdin shaleivich adanim. Says the Gemara, what are you talking? What are they saying? Do we think that they're the ones that killed someone? Ella shaloiba al yadenu paternua. Rather, you know what they mean? What they mean to say is, it didn't come within our midst, and we sent him away. Meaning, maybe what happened was a guy came and he needed something to eat. And he sent him away without any food. So says the Gemara, no. The Zakinim are saying they didn't even do that. Nor do we see him and not escort him. And we continue on to Menvav Amid Aleph. And now, after the elders of that city, they make this declaration after decapitating the calf. The Kahanim come, and what do they say? Kaper li Amcha Yisrael. It should be a kapara for the people of Klal Yisrael. Sharpadisa Hashem, that you redeemed Hashem. Do not place innocent blood in the midst of your people Yisrael. And it's needless, the Kahanim did not have to say that v'nechaper lahem hadam, that the blood should be an atonement for them. Ela ruach hakodesh mivasrasan. Rather, these are words of ruach hakodesh that what imasai shetase kacha hadam mischaper lahem. The Kahanim are speaking it as a form of ruach hakodesh, saying that when you do this situation, when you do this whole procedure of the Eglah Arufa, what happens? Then the person that was killed becomes a kapara for everyone. So says the Gemara, one of the dinim in the Mishnah was that if the Eglah Arufa had a mum, it would not be allowed to be used for the Eglah Arufa. So says the Gemara, v'hei mum pasal ba'agala mikal v'chaymer. Says the Gemara, but a mum should pasel the Eglah Arufa. Excuse me, incorrect. We learn from the Mishnah that it could be an animal that has a mum. As the beginning of the Mishnah says, ve'ena mum paisel mamish fakert. Excuse me, a mum does not pasel the Eglah Arufa. So says the Gemara, why not? Ve'ena mum paisel be'eglah mikal v'chaymer. We should make a kal v'chaymer. Uma para. When it comes to the para aduma, shein hashanim paisel boy, that each is not pasel it. Yeah, mum paisel boy. Eglah, when it comes to Eglah Arufa, sheshanim paisel es boy noidin. Sheimum paisel ba. Certainly a mum shabasel. Answers the Marsha and the Asam Damar Cross and the Pasha Ein Ba Mum. By the Parah Duma says it can't have a mum. Ba mum paisel in it a mum pasel. Ein mum paisel be'eglah. Elamiata continues to come and asks, any other form of work in the animal should not passel it. But yet, why did Rav Yudah Rav teach us? If you place upon it, shall sakin, a bag that it's going to be passel. But when it comes to Eglah Arufa, what's the halacha? When it came to the Parah Aduma, even if you put a sack in it, it passels. When it came to Eglah Arufa, the halacha is until it actually pulls the bundle. So holding it should not passel by the Parah Aduma. We should equate it backwards. We should learn Parah Aduma from Eglah Arufa. Says the Gemara, shiny Parah Aduma is different. Dinim de Alfinan, special Zir Shava all me Eglah. Eglah nami tesi all mi Parah. So says the Gemara, why doesn't it go both ways? Answers the Gemara, Hamir Rachmana, ba. It was memayit with the word ba. Asks the Gemara about Golanami Oksiv ba. It says the same thing about Eglah Arufa. Homi Baile Lemute Kachim. They come to exclude Kachim. Delay Paslu. Beho Avoida. That all carbonized does not become pasal if the animal was used for work. Because why mean I would have thought Lacy Vakavachaimer me Agala. Let's learn Shar Kachim, other carbonized, from a Kalvachaimer from Eglah Arufa. Egla shein mum baisel ba, but egla rufa mum does not passel, and yet avoida baiseles ba. Yet Allah is that if you work with the animal, it does passel. Kachim my other karbana shemum baiseles ba mean oidin. Shavoida baiseles ben certainly avoida shabassel. Says the Gemara, nothing doing. Ikla mifrach. We could ask Mala egla shkin shanim baiseles. As we saw a moment ago, there's a din of the age ba. Atu kachim milaka the pasli v'shanim. Says the Gemara, 1 second. But are there not certain karbanos that age pasels as well? Ki etzich kra lahanach kachim the paslu shanim. So for those karbanos that also pasel shanim should be the same. Ask the Gemara of a kachim lo pasibu avoida. When it comes to kachim, that working with the item does not pasel it. Mehacha nafka. Do you learn it out from over here? Mehasam nafka. The pasuk says, "Averes oishaver oicharu, averes oishaver oicharu tayabel oicharu v'yelefes." If the animal had all these different issues, it was blind, broken, split-eyed, warred, or dried skin. Oyabel oicharu v'yelefes. What's halacha loisakrivu eile laHashem. Eloi atamakriv avlatamakriv kachem should have him avoida. Says the Gemara, what was all havamina? It's clear in the psukim that what pasels are carbon. If it has these specific movement, but not if the animal was just worked. So explains the Gemara, it's and avoidas heter. You would think that it's only when it was avoida the heter was performed with the animal. But if an avoidas iser forbidden work was performed with the animal, for example, if the animal was utilized on Shabbos to do work, or it plowed with kalayim, so sricha, for those cases, we need the extra limit of ba to teach us that it doesn't passel by kachim. Ask the Gemara of Anami me'acha nafka. What do you mean? But we should also learn this out from kachim. The pasuk says, "Ben nechar lo yisakrivu eslachem elokeichem mikol eileh." From the hands of the stranger, you're not allowed to offer a carbon to Hashem mikol eileh from any of these. And from here we darshan similarly eileh yatamakriv avtamakriv kachim jemen avoida. So we have another source. Answers the Gemara, Itzrich, we still need it. Maybe it's only if work was done with the animal while they were not kadosh. Therefore, that is the reason why we need the extra pasik by egla arufa. So, long and lengthy, Josh is figuring out the connection between the three-way connection, egla arufa, para aduma, and shar kashim. Continues the Gemara on the third line down of the white lines. Vav Amir Aleph Kufa, says the Gemara. Amar Rav Yuda Amar Rav Hiniach Oleo Oidesh Al Zakin. If you placed on the para aduma a bundle of sacks, psula, it's possible for being a para aduma. When it comes to ergla arufa, it only passes if the animal actually pulled the load. Meisvei, ask the Gemara. It says the pasuk by paraduma oil, ainly yellow oil. That only means the animal carried a yoke. Shar avodas minayim. How do you know all other avodas passel by paraduma as well? Amrit kalva chaimer, explains the Gemara. A mom does not pass like by the glarufa. Yet shar avodas do passel it. Para when it comes to paraduma, shamon by salzban. I didn't shar avodas by salzban. So you're going to retort to me and you're going to say, never kind all of them are all. Answers the Gemara, what do you mean if you're going to say? The question was, maybe you could ask, so now ask the Gemara 1 second. From the place that you yourself are learning, we should say, so it should be the same din both by paraduma and by egla arufa. That the halacha should be that it's only possible if the animal is mashoch, if the animal pulls the load. Whereas what do we see in the Braisa? That putting the bundle on the animal, that's going to be enough to passel it. Answers the Gemara, indeed there is such a shita. Tanayi, it's a machlokes Tanayi. Tika demaisi la me'agala, vika demaisi la me'gufa de para. And now the Gemara explains. Ditan, you learned in a brayso all in liela all shar avodas minayin. How do we know that other avodas pasal paradum and tamlam bar shelo yolela all mikol makoim? If that's true, I'm came on tamlam all. So says the Gemara, so why do you the word all at all? Oil apostle beim shas avoda beim shaloi shas avoda explains the Gemara. A yoil apostles always shar avodas ein poiseles ella b'shas avoda, only at the time that the animal is actually doing work. But if the animal is resting, it would not be the same. Says the Gemara of Eima Shaloy Ol Klat. Says the Gemara, 1 second. We should have a classic klal upradu klal. The fact you can't put up onto a yoke is a klal, a general statement. All is a prat. Don't put it on a yoke is a specific statement. Klal upradin v'klal mashe b'prat. All in midiachrini loy. So ask the Gemara, not klal upradin klal, excuse me, from klal uprat. It should only be the thing specified. So midiachrini loy. Answers the Gemara, Asher is, the word Asher is an extra term that comes to include. Says the Gemara, V'tanya nami, gabi eglo, we have different brayso. Ki agavna, ol en li'el ol, shar avoida is minayin, dam lemer shaloy avid ba, mikol makom im kimatam lemer ol, o posu mishas avoida, mishas avoida, shar avoida is in b'tal zelo b'shas avoida. Ve'ema, asked the Gemara in this brayso, shaloy avad ba klal, that if you do not work with animals, the general statement. All is a prat, and klal prat, and klal mashav a prat. All emi derchini eloi. Answers the Gemara the same time. It's Asher is a riboy. So that is the way to learn it out. And the Gemara continues. Amar Ravavua. We asked the following fundamental shayla, 6 lines at the end of the Amar of Mevav and Aleph from Rav Yochanan. Meshichas ol bekama. When we discussed that pulling of the yoke, passels, how far does the animal have to pull the yoke? Amarlei kimali ol, the distance of the yoke itself. Ibayilu larka the rachve, with her length. Amarlahu ahu me'rabban Rav Yaakov shemei l'dei mevar zeminei Rav Yochanan was explained. Meshichas ol rachva tefach. So then, ask Rav Leva tefach. Well, what are you giving me these funny words? Just say you pull it a tefach. Answers the Gemara, Kamash Allah and Shiur, the all tefach, it teaches you the width of an all have. Lamay nafkamina, who cares? What's the difference how wide a yoke is? Says the Gemara, Lemekachu memkar. You know what, for buying and selling, you have to know how big a standard yoke is. Says the Gemara, going back to the process of Eglah Ruf, Amrav Yechon ben Shalom, Amra Taira. Hey, the Eglah, Benacha. Why did the Pasuk say it has to be brought down to Nachal Eisan? Let this item, let this person come, let this animal come, that did not produce peiros v'arif, and you should kill it, but makom she'nois a peiros at a place that does not make peiros. V'chaper, and via that it'll become a kapar and atonement on me, she'lo yinichol asos peiros. My peiros, even a peiros of Revi'ah to have children, al mi'ata zakin v'asres, and if the case is it's totally not having children, so it sounds like if the person is too old, or the person for whatever reason is incapable of having children, it sounds like there'd be no din of eglah rufa if all was intrinsically tied to having children. Ella mitzvah doesn't mean dafka the mitzvah puravu, it means any mitzvah that unfortunately this person that was killed now cannot do. We continue on the top line of, the bottom line of Menvav Medal. Tana Rabban. Minayan le'isa chukasha. I know the isan is hard. Shenemar, as the pasuk says, and we turn over to Menvav Amid Aleph. Says the pasuk isan. Moisha vecha v'sim basela kinecha. Says the pasuk that an isan in the valleys you're dwelling, and you see a rock in your nest, in your cane, in your kainecha. Vaymer Shemu Arim Eziv Hashem, the mountain shall listen to the fighting of the Hashem Veisanim Moistei Aretz. Chayir Mamrim Menayin Leisan Shukash Yasha. We know that this Nachal Eisan is an old place. Shenamar Goy Yitain Hu Goy Me'olam Hu. So the Gemara continues 5 lines down. You smash it with an axe in the back. My time, a cleaver. The same process as the Chatasayif. In that place, they cannot plant. They cannot work the land at all. He should not work there. Nor should you plant it. Says the Gemara, Lishavar. This refers to that no work has done in the past. Divrei Rav Yeshai. It has to be a place that was never planted, plowed, etc. No, lahaba. Doesn't mean in the past. It's not giving us the status of the area. It's telling me how to deal with this area. It shall be planted in the future. Rav Amar lahaba. Rav also is lahaba. Tkoli Amalei Fligi explains the Gemara D'Chsev Leizara. Keep Ligi Lishavar. Rav Yeshai said Mikaseh v'lo yu'uvad. It wasn't worked. Rav Yomi said Mikaseh v'shaloi navod. It won't be worked in the future. Rav Yeshaya Asher Lishavar Mashma. Rav Yomi said Amar Asher Ribuyu. So we have machlokes which way is the drasha going on? Is the drasha going only in the past or even in the future? In this place, even though we learned you're not allowed to plow, you're not allowed to plant there, but what are you allowed to do? You're allowed to plant flax and you're allowed to chisel out stones. Tanu Rabbanan, we're on the last narrow line, says the Brisa, you cannot work we're quoting the Pasuk, planting so why does the Torah add on just like Zriya is specific, this comes to exclude the combing of flax, and the chiseling of stone, they're not in the land itself, and therefore it would be allowed. Asks the Gemara, maybe the only thing that is asur is Zriya, as that is what the Torah specified. Asher answers the Gemara is Rebiu, so it's already the third time that we had today that to answer our potential Klal Prat, we have this word Asher, which comes to include. And we continue on the third very wide line, the two dads, the Mishnah taught us that the elders wash their hands. Taner Rabbanan says the all the elders who are closest to the chalal, the corpse, should wash their hands on the calf, on the decapitated calf, by the stream. Why does the pasuk say that they all should wash their hands over the egla arufa? Why does it say it? What it means is over the place that the calf was decapitated. That is what it is referring to. They say also asked the Gemara, what was the Havamina? Was there a Havamina that Beds would actually do this? It's not that he came to us and we didn't give him support. We didn't leave him without escorting him. And that's the end really of quoting the basics of the Mishnah. We add on that the Joshua was, the Havamina was to do the Rechitza, the Netilas Yadayim on the Egla Arufa itself. And the Chiddush that the Gemara is saying is no, the Makayim of the place they decapitated it, that is going to be enough. Tanya, we learned in our Braisa. 8 lines into the very wide lines. The first line is Rameir. Rameir would say, Kaifin leLevi. We force a person to escort his friend out of the city. Sheschar Levila ein lo yishir. The schar of Levaya, the schar of escorting your friend, there's no measurement. Shnem of Yaru Hashaimrim ish yoytzei min hayir. As the Pasuk says, the watchers of a man leaving the city. And they said, Eloi to him, Areinu na es mavoyo here. And they said to him, show us now the entrance of the city. V'asinu hima chesed, and we'll do a chesed with you. Uksiv, and the Pasuk said, Viro es mavoyo here, and he showed them the entrance of the city. Hima chesed asu hima. What was the chesed they did with him? Shekal oisa here, hargu lefi charif. That the entire city was killed by the sword of Oseish Mishpachtai. Shalchu, that man and his family were not harmed. So we see the reward for Levaya for escorting someone out of the city. And the man went, that was excuse me. And the man went to the land of the Chitim, even here, and he built a city, Vikra Shema Luz. He Shema Ad Ayim Hazeh, that was the day until today. Says the Gemara, what was the city? Luz. The city of Luz was where they died. The Tcheles, he Luz, Shabbos, and Chayrev. So the city that said Chayrev came, V'lo Bilbala, and did not get messed up. He did not make the people go into gulls. Nebuchadnezzar came to the laws, V'lo Echriva, and he did not destroy it. Fascinating, this place called Luz. The Malach HaMoves himself has no rishus, has no dominion over it. El Zakenim Shabab Isman Shadaitan Katza Aleim. The Zakenim, the elders would know that when their das, when their mind was no longer full, and they realized that it's time for them to die, they would leave the city of Luz, they Mesim, and they would die. So in the city of Luz there was no death. When they realized it was their time, they would leave the city. Says the Gemara, V'alo Dvarim Kal V'chaimer. Uma Kenani Zesh Lo Diber Piv Lo Yalach V'Raglov. This Kenani, he didn't speak with his mouth, he didn't go with his feet. But what? He just pointed out the entrance to the city. The result was what? He and his entire family were saved for future generations. Someone who doesn't just point out where the entrance is, he actually does the levaya. He walks out, he accompanies his guest. So says the Gemara, let's go back to the story. Where this Kenani, what did he show him by the entrance to the city? Chizki, Omer bepiv. He showed that bepiv akam lahem. He twisted his mouth and he showed mouth words where the entrance to the city was. He pointed with his finger lamp. He says the Bryce. We see the Maila of Levaya. Amr Rav Shimon Levi Malach Laderech, someone who's going in the road, being Levaya. Yasaik Bataira. Since Rav Shimon Levi, so he's going in the road and he doesn't have anyone to be with him. So what should he do? He should learn Taira Shenamar Ki Levayis Chei Neim L'Roishecha V'Anakim L'Gurguresecha. Amr Rav Shimon Levi Shal Arba B'Siyos. The 4 steps Shalava Paro Avram, that Paro walked Avram Avinu out. Shenemar V'Yitzavlo Paro Anoshim V'Goymer. For those 4 steps, Parai was able to hold the Klal Yisrael in subjugation for 400 years. Shenamar, v'avdam bano isamar me'o shana. Amar Rav Yidam Rav Kom Lavas Chaver Abraham Mois Beir. Anyone who escorts his friend for 4 amos, Einoi Nizoik, will not be harmed. Ravina Alevaya, LeRava Yitzadel Amos Beir. Ravina escorted Rava Bar Yitzchak 4 amos out of the city. What happened? A harmful situation came and he was saved. So we see the rayat which we just said, that one who's Isaac in this mitzvah, this incredible mitzvah of Levaya, will have no harm. Tana Rabbanan, continues the Gemara. Harav le Talmud. How far should the Rav escort his Talmud? Ariburoi Shalir, until the Iber of the city, the extension of the town. Chaver lechaver, one friend to the next at Chum Shabbos. Talmud Rav ein lo yishir v'kama, and how much? Amar Rav Sheshes ad parsa. The Talmud should escort his Rebbe until a parsa. V'lo ya'amaran el rabbi she'einoi movok. Aval Rabbi Movok, which we know la halacha is not so simple. A Rebbe that Mamish taught him everything. Shleisha parsa, he says escorting 3 parsais. Rav Kana elavayel Rav Simon Barashi. Rav Kana was escorting Rav Simon Barashi mipom nahara arbeis Sunisa. The Bavel Kimat. Also, when he came over there, Amalei Vadi Damrita Ani Sinisa the Bavel Mishnei Bnei Adam Harisha in Isnayu. After he escorted him, he said, "Is it true that you say that these palm trees, Hani Sinisa the Bavel, the palm trees of Bavel, are here all the way time from under Marishain?" Amar Lei Rav Simon Barashi was planted at the Kartan Milsa. You reminded me of something. Damar Rav Yisrael Chanina. Ma'idach Sev. What is the meaning of the pasuk Barislei of Arba Ish? In a land that man is not going to pass by, v'lo yoshav adam sham, and a man's not going to dwell there. If no one ever passed by, how could he dwell there? Ela eret shegazer alel adam arishan. It's the land that Adam Arishan was geyser leishav to settled nisyashva liyishuv nisyashva. Excuse me. That Adam Arisha decreed was this place should be settled. Eretz Legazer allow Adam Arisha, but a land that Adam Arisha did not make the Gzir on Loi Nisyavsha. So any place that was eventually settled was due to Adam Arisha. And we conclude Rav Mordechai Levader of Ashim Ergranya Vadbe Kipi Varmlad Beiduri Amar Rav Yechon Mishom. That's the end of it, showing us how far he was Melavim. He escorted him. We'll pick it up from Rav Yechon in the next year. B'siyata Dishmaya.